Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is Friday, February 5th, and I hope everybody's excited for the weekend. And we are here to talk about some things that have happened during this week because it's been an exciting week. It's been an exciting month for crypto. So let's just get right down into it. Ryan, hit us up with the legal if you could, sir.
Thank you, Alex. This is just a reminder that Trade the Chain, all content provided here, is strictly for informational and educational purposes only. None of this is investment advice, not one word of it.
At all. And before CJ goes, Trade the Chain is brought to you by Trade the Chain. I just want it, because I've been called out on this. I forgot to tell everybody who everybody is. My co-host Ryan Gorman, who has a great hairdo over there, just got a cut yesterday or the day before. And then we have CJ and Monty, our crypto analysts from MarketRebellion.com. So before I get called out on not announcing the people anymore, there you go.
All right. Trade the Chain is brought to you by Trade the Chain, a 24/7 community of traders of all ages and abilities in 21 time zones around the world. We've doubled in the past week, doubled our membership. It's incredible.
Woohoo!
All these people are using AI-driven sentiment indicators, actionable alerts, and each other's knowledge, advice, experience, and wins and losses to learn how to trade better in the community. TradeTheChain.com for a 14-day trial.
And MarketRebellion.com/crypto. Get access to exclusive trade ideas, Monty and I's macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, a trading education curriculum, and an elite community of traders all around the world, and much more. If you're serious about trading crypto, this is the service that gives you everything you need, all in one place. Start your first month trial for just $1 at MarketRebellion.com/crypto. We appreciate that as well, guys. Heading over to the big boards with Bitcoin here.
3 members today ask for Market Rebellion, so we dropped the link in. It's a good place to be.
Yeah, buddy.
That's likewise. I mean, we had a couple people sign up for Trade the Chain last night from our community as well. So it's great to see some overlap. A lot of traders collaborating and forming these intelligent communities. So it's a beautiful thing to see. But with Bitcoin here, what do we have to say? Well, we're having a great bullish run up, right? I think that's something everyone has liked to see this past week, is a nice retest of 38K and almost the previous highs. But now we're getting to the point where that kind of run is coming out of steam, or running out of steam, rather. And the reason why I say that is because we have a sequential TD sell 9 on the daily chart. Now, you can have 9s, and they can go, the price can continue to increase even after the 9, even $1,000 or so. But ultimately, when we get these 9s in the trend, regardless of how far up we go in the interim, we typically will always come back down below the previous top or the previous high of that 9. So that's something to consider, even if we do keep increasing in price. But overall, I'm starting to become much more bullish on Bitcoin, but we need a consolidation above 35 and 33K to create a macro higher low. Until we do that, we're still at the whim of this 30K support level. I don't think we're going to retest it. I think we're kind of moving into more macro bullish territory here, but we have to see. So with that, I will pass it to Monty.
Thank you, CJ. Yeah, I'm going to start off with the daily chart as well myself, because like you said, I think there's a lot we can kind of take away from this. And like you said, a 9 isn't always indicative of a reversal. And we saw that just at the start of this year, where we got this 9 followed by a continued run up. But what information is worth taking away from this is that this 9 set up this nice support line that actually really was valid during this whole period of consolidation over the last couple of weeks. You can see we kind of tested this 30K level a few times. So now what I'm looking for here to kind of confirm that this is going to continue to trend higher is a daily candle close above this setup now resistance, because I think there's going to be some significant sell pressure around 40K. And unless we can consolidate above this, we're going to continue trending down. This is kind of somewhat supported by the 4-hour chart as well, if you take a look here, we got some interesting setup support and resistance here, right? So we got this 9 right here making this setup resistance, and we're kind of teasing with this right now. We've whipped above it a few times, kind of weakening this level, but we still haven't closed above it. So I'm not completely firm in the fact that we have broken above 38K and can continue to trend upwards. But what is really encouraging is this kind of uptrend above this right here, this resistance level of 36.951K. So if we don't get that sharp resistance on the daily chart that CJ and I were just talking about, we might see this level right here hold as some really solid interim support and allow this uptrend to continue. So I think this weekend's going to be pretty important to kind of gauge the macro trend of the market and see where things are going. But until then, we're just going to have to kind of wait and see how it plays out.
What are the odds, you know, because long-term sentiment on the dashboard, the Trade the Chain dashboard, is bullish. Daily sentiment's neutral. You know, we've seen these periods before where we get stuck in kind of a range-bound trade where we're just bouncing back and forth between like 1,000 in each direction or 2,000 in each direction for a few weeks. It consolidates, and then we resume the move higher. What are the odds you think we go into one of those month or two just kind of flat trading periods before we resume a potential rally?
Well, I don't know about a month or two. I mean, we've kind of been talking about how the moves are happening a lot faster these days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you made a good point, Ryan, in talking about how like the long-term sentiment for Bitcoin is actually bullish, but the daily sentiment is kind of mixed. It's kind of neutral. And I think that fits with the technicals as well, right? Because if you look at the shorter time frame, like the 4-hour chart, like I was just showing, there is good reason to believe that we may get a period of kind of consolidation above 35K, which would be tremendously bullish. But looking at the daily chart and looking at some indicators at this time frame, we're still very overbought. So I mean, look at the RSI, we're at 61, and like CJ pointed out, we're on the green 9, let in with a 13 reversal candle. So it doesn't seem all that likely that we're going to break above this right now. So I think the neutral sentiment on the daily time frame is pretty fitting with the technicals here. But I am definitely still bullish long term because, I mean, just looking at the levels of support and resistance and looking at kind of how far we've come in just the last few months, I still think there's a lot of room to run. And there's some other factors at play here, like the boom we've been seeing with Ethereum and DeFi. And I think all of that is just going to be bullish for this space. So I don't really expect a extended period of consolidation.
Yeah. So what are we doing over on the east side of the thing, guys? I mean, are we still, first of all, we hit an all-time high, right? I believe we touched another one. This thing just seems to be pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, I'll bring up the chart for us.
I think this morning, yeah, we did hit an all-time high. Unless I'm
17, 1800.
17.
Yeah.
60.
Yeah, 62. Yeah, we hit it. We did it.
Nice.
So we've been talking about ETH a lot, and one thing, just an educational bit. Don't consider this financial advice. Consider it education. But,
it's all education.
It's all education. But this ascending triangle, the way in which you can select a price target from a triangle, it can be descending or ascending, is if you take the length of the leg up, you know, right here, this distance here, and then you extrapolate it from the breakout point, you can come up with a price target. And Ethereum's price target on this one was about 1800. And that's precisely what we've gone. Now you can see we're in a somewhat similar area to Bitcoin on the daily chart, considering we are on a 8 of 9 candle on the TD sequential indicator, and we are on a TD countdown sell 13. So we're hitting, tomorrow we're going to hit 2 sell signals essentially on ETH, hitting that target resistance level of about 1800. So could the mania ensue and keep going? Sure, it absolutely could. But we're also getting some prevalent sell signals at the same time. So something to watch out for there.
One of the things behind this run has been, as you mentioned, DeFi. We have 34 billion in assets, total value locked now, and that number just keeps going up and up and up. my untrained eye, I can read a chart to an extent, not as well as you guys can, but I can read a chart. And you know, the charts tell us one thing, but some of the fundamentals in it are telling us another. What do you put more stock in, I guess, when looking at where ETH could potentially go, say, just like even this weekend?
Yeah, I think that's a huge contributing factor. And honestly, like, I think the all the capital that we've seen flowing into DeFi is going to be tremendously bullish for ETH. And it's kind of, I think it may be an overriding factor that can allow it to kind of overcome this this 13 reversal candle in the green 9. It's kind of hard to gauge exactly where ETH is at technically, just because of the just absolutely insane interest in DeFi that we've seen just so far this year. So like you said, Ryan, we're at 36 billion right now. January 1st, we were at 15 billion. So more than doubled in a matter of just over a month. I think this is going to be tremendously healthy for ETH. If you just look at some of these assets that are performing best, all of them pretty much are on the Ethereum chain. So I think this capital hasn't really fully been priced into ETH yet. I think you can definitely contribute a large factor of this run up right here to the recent boom in DeFi, but I don't think it's exhausted yet. Just looking at these DeFi numbers, I think there's still room for the upside for Ethereum.
Can I show a chart of, sorry, Ryan, I just want to show a chart. Monty brought this up yesterday, I think, or the day before, but the DeFi perpetual contracts on FTX. So essentially an index of the DeFi industry. You can see we've gone parabolic.
Yeah,
absolutely. Even after the TD sequential sell 9, both of them, we continue to create higher highs and higher lows. So this is a very bullish chart for the collective consciousness of Ethereum and the entire ecosystem built around it.
What surprised me, I think, is, you know, the hack earlier this week with Yearn, where they lost a total of what, 11 million. It didn't slow this down at all. In the past, you'd have a DeFi protocol hacked, millions would disappear, and you know, ETH would tank, a bunch of DeFi protocols would go down with it. And this time, maybe it was like a little speed bump, but then everything just kept going up. What do you think will have to happen in order for this interest to cool off? Because eventually it has to. These things are all cyclical. What do you think it will take for this to slow down?
I think it is largely dependent on Bitcoin's overall macro cycle. I think, like, remember Yearn, or not Yearn, Yam. Remember Yam, guys? So think about the period in Bitcoin's overall market cycle when a catastrophe like that happened. And now compare that and think about where we are in the cycle in terms of how that would have affected like a hack in Yearn earlier this week. So what I'm just trying to say is that we're in a much, much more risk on and overall bullish environment now than we were, say, you know, 4 or 5 months ago, whenever that Yam debacle occurred. But this is a very, very risk on environment. And to your point, Ryan, I think it's going to take like a bear market in Bitcoin and the overall market to slow these things down.
I think Ryan has a good point, though. I mean, nobody seems to be caring, or not caring, everybody cares, but nobody seems to be slowing down with regards to that hack news. You go back to September, and we all remember, I mean, you know, you spoke about Yam, CJ, then all of a sudden we had the chef leave the kitchen with 13, I forget the amount now at this point.
14
yeah, $14 million. And even when the chef returned to the kitchen and you know, said he wasn't running away, DeFi really stagnated for, I would say it was a good 100-day period where it almost looked like this thing wasn't going to get off the ground. Now this thing is charging past bad news. Oh well, I guess the projects and the protocols that are coming out and for real use cases are a little bit more mature to create a fundamental case for places like Aave or Compound. So,
before you do the news, Alex,
yeah.
one more thing. So CJ, given how risk off everything is, I bought some Doge.
Oh,
and of course, the minute I bought Doge, that coin circled the drain. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it would happen. Of course it happened. It's down. What is it down now? Like 10% today or something?
Ryan, could you just give us like an alert when you buy something? So we know, it's like it's like an actionable sig dev, you know?
I just said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to buy some. It wasn't even that much money. It was just, I knew it was going to happen. And of course, the minute I bought it, right down.
Now hold on. You can't throw that trade in without telling everybody about your really great trade you had though.
All right, fine, fair. So SteamX earlier this week, right before it popped, I put some money into that. And then by the time I sold, it was up 163% when I sold on Wednesday morning. So, I mean, that's a nice trade for a 24-hour period.
As John Nigerian would say, bang, bang,
Bang!
But Dogecoin screwed me again.
Well, here's the thing.
Game on me. What?
I want to answer this though, because Doge pumped so hard after Elon, so everyone knows about it now. But it will go down. Like it very highly likely will retrace to the prior levels. But in 6 months, when some TikToker or some guy like Elon pumps it again, we might see one day where Doge is up 50%, and we're all like, oh, this is BS. There's no fundamental value. Who would do such a thing? But that's what Doge does, and it's what it has done historically.
So what I should do is hold it and, you know, just compartmentalize the losses. And then one day when some Twitter personality or someone decides they're going to pump it, I can be made whole again.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Wow, talk about a store of value.
I know another coin where the holders waited about 3 years for that to happen before getting a nice pump and be able to get out. But they have an army behind them. So let's move on to the Crosstower news. Ryan is personally connected to this. So Ryan, what's up? Tell us about this. It's cool. GBTC.
Yeah, so Crosstower, they're an exchange and capital markets firm based out in Jersey City. And they've launched a fund that directly competes with Grayscale's to an extent, right? So you have a management fee of only 60 basis points. You have daily liquidity, which these are two important points when comparing against Grayscale, right? So Grayscale charges 2% management fee. So they're less than half of Grayscale, a lot less than half. And Grayscale has lockups. How long are Grayscale's lockups? Are they a month? Are they 6 months? A year? I forget exactly how long that is with GBTC.
I think it was a 6-month trade.
It's a 6-month trade. Whereas with the Crosstower fund, you can get in and out in 1 day, 2 days, 3 months, whatever you want. So this thing trades at actual par value with Bitcoin instead of there being that separation from NAV that you have with GBTC. So people buying GBTC, it's been well documented now. You want that premium to NAV, and that's what all the institutions are getting in for, right? With this, you're an institution, you're a family office, you're a trader. If you want to get into Bitcoin, you want to be custodied by a professional, you know, institutional grade custodian like Anchorage, you get into this fund and you don't have to worry about holding the Bitcoin yourself physically. And you physically hold Bitcoin, unlike with CME futures or other products that are on the market that aren't physically delivered. So I think, you know, this is a product that could be appealing to quite a few institutions, family offices, and other accredited investors who may not be as sophisticated as the four of us, but still want exposure to crypto assets, you know?
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, I have personally, I know a wealth manager who can't custody Bitcoin legally, so he's just telling pretty much all of his clients to just put 5% of their portfolio allocations into Bitcoin, whether it's on Coinbase, Kraken, or Voyager, or whatever. But this type of vehicle is absolutely essential for those types of family offices and other types of firms like that want exposure to Bitcoin. Now, this one's only starting out with, what, 20 million AUM? So it's not that significant when compared to Grayscale. But still, these are the things that you want to see. This is a reflection of institutional interest in the form of, those smaller family offices.
Absolutely. And this was built in direct response to, the family offices, the RIAs they work with, the other professional traders they work with, wanting something that was a little easier to handle and a little bit less of a lift. And that's what they created.
Well, you got two smart founders over there as well. You know, you got
Yeah.
Kapil, who has worked in the traditional side forever. You have Christian, former attorney over at Schulte, Roth and Zabel, one of the most high-power hedge fund attorneys, law firms in the U.S. So, I mean, their Rolodex has these type of peoples in it, and I'm pretty sure that this product was more than likely derived over there at Crosstower off of demand. So I wish them all the best. Ryan, they're Ryan's clients. I know them. They're good people, and this is a solid product that institutions do want. Speaking of which, just look at NYDIG. You know, NYDIG went on with what Saylor was putting together and said they've been talking to Mass Mutual for 3 years about Bitcoin. So the demand's there. There's a lot of conversations we don't know anything about or know that they're happening. And then one day these products come up and we're like, wait, why'd the product come here? It's because these conversations have been, happening for a long time. So good job, Ryan.
Doesn't NYDIG already have like several billions in holdings in Bitcoin as well, right? Like what's that exact number? Was it like 26 billion or?
No. It's 1.4 billion.
Oh, okay. So it'll be at
Mike,
26 billion by the end of the year is what they're saying.
yeah, I think was it 20, 25, somewhere around there. I think there was a list put out, a really interesting list. I got to find it, but I think it was MicroStrategies was the highest corporate, and then NYDIG was the highest institutional asset manager. But yeah, they're number one in their category for Bitcoin holdings.
Dennis mentioned it in this morning's newsletter. Hold on, I'm pulling that up right now. Maybe it was yesterday's. Never mind, it was yesterday's newsletter, so I don't have the right one up. But yeah, ultimately, they're saying, NYDIG, that they can bring on 75 investors per month and allocate them to Bitcoin. That's a substantial number when you're dealing with family offices and other institutions versus the average retail investor from like mom and pop.
Yeah, and NYDIG is all institutional. I mean, I love it when I do meetings over at NYDIG or prior to the COVID stuff. I mean, they have a really fantastic trading floor and really a smart group of guys over there. So more power to them. Congratulations to Kristen and Kapil over at Crosstower for that product launch, and Ryan, who reps them in the news. What else we got, guys, before we go on the weekend? Anything, or are we about done?
Well, we're definitely about done, but Pat released a new thing today about Voyager and their update. And of course, if you don't know already, the announcement from Voyager was that their customer assets are now up to 800 million. In October, I think this number was 100 million. So tremendous growth, not only in the market, but also with customer funded accounts. Revenue above 8.5 million, funded accounts over 106K. And
Wow.
So essentially, I haven't read this. I was just checking it out while you guys were talking just now. But Pat has been doing these updates. So if you own VGX or if you're interested in VGX, you should definitely check out this research by Pat Ackerman. Maybe we'll get him on here again and go through this. But I will leave it with that. If you guys have any final thoughts.
Yeah, congratulations to the team over there. Pat does a tremendous job with his analysis, and we hope everybody has a great weekend. Hang on to your handlebars. There were no honey holes today, and good luck trading this weekend. We know how feisty you can get on the Saturday and Sunday. So take it easy, everybody.
Thank you.